11,760 pounds, the Cougar 368 mid-bunk here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan, with all the Dresden pressings, second air, second awning, MORryde steps, auto leveling, all the good things you're looking for, 0 to 100 degree rated. The only thing they left out was a bunch of the budget that I seem to find in a bunch of these other mid-bunk models. With the slide out closed in pretty much every mid-bunk model I've ever seen, you're not going to really sneak through and get to anywhere. I don't care how much slim fast you've been doing recently. But what is kind of neat is with this loft up here, you've got a bed for the kids. The bathroom's right between you, and you can get up to the bedroom. So if you are on a long trip and you do just really need to stop and crash for the night, you can unload the kids from the back seat, carry them inside, lay them up in that loft. They'll be safe till morning. You can hit the road, you know, rested, rejuvenated, and ready to rock and roll. But the thing is with these mid-bunks, what they might lack in a little bit of travel accessibility, they more than make up for in destination functionality. These things are awesome. If, you know, there's so many different ways that mid-bunks can work. If you're going to be a work camper, if you're going to be a full-timer, if you want a good living space but you want room for the kids, if you have adult friends, if you're looking to make an office out of it, I mean, the list goes on. You can call the bonus room a mid-bunk or whatever you want, but the fact is, they are some of the most flexible things ever out there. If you're looking for the first, last, and only fifth wheel you ever want to purchase, frankly, mid-bunk's got to be pretty high on the list. The only thing that they're not going to be is short. There's just no way to shove a whole extra room into something that's already 35 feet and expect it to be much less than that. However, you might notice, here in the Cougars, one thing they do well, entertainment. That giant 4K TV on Boardwalk and Park Place across from all the seating in your slide out here. They do just an ace job of that. And I also love how they give you a perfect little spot to hide your remote controls in that armrest. That's actually something people don't think about in RVs. There's never a good spot for the remotes. Well, now we got it handled. Plus with the cup holders, you don't have to get up and down every time you just want to take a sip on an iced tea, whether it's a conventional or Long Island variety. Anyway. Directly across from you, you have your electric space heating fireplace with remote control. If you don't want the heat, you can just turn on the LED-only visuals. Pretty neat kind of stuff. Bluetooth DVD, pretty standard sort of fare. We already mentioned the big ol' 4K TV. So we've got entertainment, we've got living space, but the word bunk is in a mid-bunk. What does it bring to bear in terms of sleeping capacity? And this really highlights one of the more, I'm suspecting unintended, but frankly pretty cool facets of a middle bunk floor plan, is the number of separate sleeping zones they have. You have the master bedroom, you have the loft, you have the middle bunk room, and then you have the sleeping areas here in the living room. Both this trifold sleeper sofa as well as the dinette. You have 4 completely separated sleeping zones, which is a hard thing to find in the business. Over here though, take note of this. You can still fully utilize one of the 2 theater seats, so if you do have a little kid, they can recline back here and crash for the night. You obviously still have the dinette, which you can utilize. But note that even with this open, you still have room to snake through here. If you wake up in the morning, you want to sit down, you want to start sipping on your coffee, watching TV. Even if the hide-a-bed's open, you don't really lose any sort of access or function on the RV. So, yet again, another pretty cool thing about mid-bunk models is that you never really get cut off from anything. But this big, expansive, dual super slide living space, that's really one of the main signature facets of a mid-bunk model. And what's cool is how it actually really resembles just an extremely popular non-mid-bunk model, the 315 RLS Cougar here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. So if you like what you see, but you're like, I don't care about that extra slide, I don't need all that. Well, no sweat. I can get you something that's shorter, lighter, less money, just obviously less sleeping capacity. So it just depends on what goal you're looking to accomplish. We got it all at Haylett RV. Speaking of getting it all, this thing has all of the windows. And you notice that it also has these really slick, easily overlooked feature. These nice little wooden blinds right here, and they raise up and down just like a pleated shade. But what's nice about these guys is you can actually clean them. And that's something people don't think. People never think about tomorrow. They only think about today when they're looking at an RV. Another thing people don't think about is like places for things like phone chargers and whatnot. Now, that hide-a-bed that we had open, these big side stands with storage, by the way, that's super CPAP friendly for an adult guest. That's something that is easily missed by both a potential buyer as well as an RV designer. You can't assume that's there in every one of these. But what I was saying, windows. I work on tangents. I'm sorry. I see something shiny and I'm like, you're just swimming in windows in this thing. You've got all of the windows over here on the door side, and they put a monster window up there in that hallway, if you notice, as you're heading toward the bathroom mid-bunk area. You can, if you hear wacky noise outside, if your kids are going bananas, you can always see what's going on. Another thing that's kind of cool is the stealth mode lighting they have in these Cougars. You can dim these lights down. They have positional memory, and then you just hold the button and they come right back to life. So if you need something like a night light for kiddos on the hide-a-bed or the dinette or something, you have that. Plus, you also have the LED accent panels within the slide face. It's funny because when they're on, you almost don't actively notice it, but when you turn them off, it sure feels flat, doesn't it? It really does add a lot of indirect light and life into this room right here. So, lots of windows, storage below the dinette. You can, sleep on everything. We've talked about all kinds of good stuff there. What we haven't talked about so far is the kitchen. Up top, we have a max air vent fan. So with a wall controller, by the way, well, actually the in-command system that we'll talk about more in depth as we go, the in-command system actually controls that. And what's neat about that is that means no matter where you're at, like if you're sitting, let's say over here at this dining table, and you have that cross breeze window open, but there's not enough real natural breeze going through, you can grab your phone, you can turn on that fan, and you don't even have to get up. That is awesome. In-command just keeps getting better. I am a super fan of in-command. And I wasn't exactly intending to make that rhyme, but hey, I'll take it. So, kitchen space. And this thing has serious kitchen space. And it starts over here in one of my favorite things, the Pantrytainment Center. Because it is easy to miss how much storage is above, behind, and even below the big 4K TV. And that's another kind of cool thing. It almost has a little bit of a desk sort of feel with those drawers. But the fact is, I don't think you're really going to need it for desk space when you have that bonus room. We have a 4-door, gas-electric, traveling-friendly fridge freezer over here. And as we pan around the corner just a little bit, you see we've got a big old residential-sized microwave. Now, what's really nice here, Cougar's very good about this. They got a very good attention for detail on this. That all the light from that window is actually killing the camera right now. But to the right of the stovetop, you've got dedicated counter space. So that even if, like right now, the flush mount stove, that can be prep space. But if you're cooking, obviously you can't do that. So they give you a place to set your spoons and ladles, or even a little coffee maker over there in the corner with that handy, well-positioned little power outlet. Now, down below, they didn't waste anything. They gave you maximum space and potential here. And I like how you've got like these tall cabinets, or the bottom flat one there. Very handy if you've got like a little pan where you want to make cookies, biscuits in the oven, something like that. Now this is a floor-to-ceiling big vertical pantry, and I get it that, you're going to need a 2-step stool to get up there, but the fact is, it is storage, and they didn't waste it. And as they say in the infomercials, but wait, there's more! Well, kind of starts with solid surface counters here in the kitchen. We're going to do the wedding ring test. You tap on stuff, you hear real metallic hardware, not silvery looking plastic hardware. You've got like cutting board style sink covers with dual nice deep sink basins, so you can actually get some decent sized pots and pans in there. And you actually have decent places to store decent sized pots and pans down here, along with a big space for a wastebasket. Camera suffers in a low light situation like that, apologies. Notice too, the little plastic utensil organizer they include in their drawers. It's just it's a thing that if it wasn't there, you wouldn't even think twice. But I love that Cougar thought twice about it, because it's something you can actually really use. And additionally, plywood drawers, and notice how they treat their drawers. These are not splinter factories. You see how they're all beveled off and shiny and whatnot? That's just a nice little touch. Now, as I wrap around the island here, I do want to point out we have more outlets. They're just easy to miss. And I love the little toe kick down here, so you can really belly right up to the bar. Now, moving in to really one of the main focal points of this is the middle bunk room. But first is the 3-inch interior wall structure they have at most of Keystone, not just Cougar. Every one of their doorways is fully studded out. Like, it doesn't move, it doesn't wobble, it doesn't buckle at all. it's the interior structure on these is very impressive. And that right there, that kind of under the skin stuff is the thing that a lot of brands can very easily cut back on. And very few uneducated buyers even know the difference. They're like, I don't even know to ask about that. So our middle room here, called a middle bunkhouse, called a middle bonus room, call it whatever you want. Obviously, during the day, you've got like an extra little seating area. Very cool if maybe you need to, you know, the kids are having a little meltdown moment and you got to put a cartoon on just to get their little bodies settled down or something like that. Or sometimes, like my wife and I, she likes things like award shows. I don't. So, you know, during that time, I just find something else to watch and I let her enjoy her thing. And trust me, I watch enough really stupid TV, mostly cartoons, that she can't stand. So, you know, it goes both ways. But the fact is, that's another use for this right here. But of course, one of the main purposes of this is the bonus sleeping capacity. But when it's not second living room or office time, we have another of those trifold sleeper sofas like we saw in the living room here in our middle bunk room. And then obviously we have the loft bed above us right now, which we'll get to in just a minute here. I do want to point out that there are heating and cooling ducts here in this middle room. I'm not saying that it's a common miss by manufacturers. I don't really know of anyone that does miss on that, but it does seem like a lot of brands make it something of a very last minute afterthought, like, oh crap, we enclose this little hot box of a room where people are going to be sleeping at night and we never gave it any sort of, you know, heating or cooling. Everything in this one seems to really feel intentional. Now, this is very adult-friendly, and if you're really tall like me, your feet might hang off a little bit, but there's still a nice gap down here where if you're tall, your feet could hang off the bed, or if you're sleeping on the far side there, if there's two people in here, you can still scoot around the sofa and, you know, get out to, say, like the bathroom at night, or if you wake up first in the morning, you're again, the trend is you're not cut off from everything in a mid-bunk model, at least not in this Cougar. But storage is something that a lot of brands will miss in any bunkhouse. And anybody with kids can verify how much space they take up. And having all this extra cabinet space in here, if you're going to use it for kids' clothes, guest clothes, if you're going to use it as an office, even if this is like some sort of weird bonus walk-in pantry, you will never regret having all this. This is also a nice, easy place to be able to reach around the cabinet styles, and you can feel how it's all pocket screwed together. That being said, I'm not really aware of any manufacturer who is using particle board stapled cabinetry in a fifth wheel. Maybe there's one. I'm not aware of one. But again, I know that Cougars are doing it right. And should you choose to add some entertainment into this middle room, frankly, you could do worse. You could put yourself probably another one of those big 40-inch TVs in here. And I like how the outlets are also easy to reach down low, so that if you are going to use this for more of an office station, if you have a little tablet or something set up there, you're good to go. And hey, handy little phone charging USB plugs right there by the doorway. Forgot the word for doorway for a minute. My brain's about to melt. Moving upstairs, moving on up. We are going to take a second to take a look at In Command. This is really awesome. This is something I'm a big fan of, and it's more than just a touch screen to control things like slides and awnings. It does, yeah, I thought my battery was getting low. The lights felt like they should be a little brighter to me. But isn't it cool? It's like, hey dude, your battery, you might want to check that. But you can control like all of your interior lights right from here. You can actually control your heating and cooling right from here. Like right now we have it off and it's cold outside. It's telling me it's 47 degrees. But and look at this. You can even schedule when the temperature goes up and down. So kind of like a smart thermostat in a house. You can do a lot of things with this. But what's awesome is every single thing this can do, this can do. You can do it right off your phone. And you can do it from anywhere. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're too hot, you can hit that little HVAC button on your phone and you can, you know, turn the air up, down, in and out, whatever, you know, make it happen. So if you don't need this for sleeping, we call this a loft, and it, you know, very often loft bed is the word applied to it, but this could be an attic. If you just want to start throwing totes or something up here, it'd be very easy to put a little curtain across to kind of just give a visual break point so you don't feel like guests are walking past your cargo garage. But you could really go nuts loading this thing up here. That's one of the reasons mid-bunks are very popular for full-timing couples, not just camping families. It can just do so many things. Another thing I like on the Cougar here, the original Cougar mid-bunk did not have this. But this one has the ladder to the upper loft bed right here in the upper deck. So it's only 3 little steps and bam, there you go. It's also much, much easier if you have littles that you can just place them up here. You don't have to heave them over your head or anything like that. And it wouldn't be hard to put a safety gate here to fully enclose that were you so inclined. Moving on to the bathroom area. Pardon me just a moment. Let me kick on this light. Another thing I want to point out, like you look at this, and someone's knee-jerk reaction is to go, oh man, that's really stupid. You have to walk through sideways this little narrow path to get to the shower. This right here is just the traveling lock. Once you get to your destination, slide these triple door panels open, and voila, welcome home, easy entry. Last year, this had, like Montana's had that pivot door, and personally I think it's neat, but not everyone was super jazzed about it. So Cougar went to a sliding pocket door so that it's just completely out of the way. It's easy come and go. This bathroom is very well executed. Again, very similar to the Montana bathroom that I mentioned. You've got excellent capacity for linen space, toiletries, body washes, etc. You can see our porcelain foot flush stool here with plenty of legroom. We do have a seat in that shower so that if you need to sit to, shave your legs, whatever, you got plenty of room to do it. Or maybe you just got a hitch in your giddy-up. It doesn't have to just be for leg shaving. Maybe you've got a bad hip or knee or something, and it's just safer for you to sit. Well, there you go. Now, recent changeover at the time of this filming, they went to the completely clear glass door. And now, when you just walk around an RV like this, you feel like maybe it's a lack of privacy. But the thing to remember is you have a door that closes, slides shut in this bathroom. So, in the meantime, when you're not in an enclosed bathroom, it just makes everything look and feel bigger. Now up here in the bath area, next to a high water source in a room that generates a lot of humidity, they have sealed edge countertops. And I like how they kind of wrap that bowl out there. They give you a nice big sink basin so that you can really get some adult hands in there to get yourself washed up. Privacy door to the bedroom, of course, but a couple really important notes up here in the bedroom. We typically outfit our Cougars here, any of the Cougars with a bed slide, with a second air conditioner so that you get maximum cooling power. They're both tied into the central air system. So there's not just like one localized or one non-local, although if you are inclined, all you have to do is flip this little thing right here, and you see how those fins open up inside? You can drop all the air here in the bedroom if you want to. You just don't have to. We have also applied to this one the 70 by 80 king bed upgrade. A 60 by 80 queen is still standard. Each has little benefits the other way, but the consumer market has basically shown through what they want to purchase and not purchase that king beds are more popular than queens. So we have to go with the numbers, guys, and we're going to probably have king beds in stock. Now keep in mind, what we've seen today, this is an example of one Cougar mid-bunk here at Haylett RV, not necessarily the Cougar mid-bunk here at Haylett RV. I always like to stress that so that, also keep in mind, check the posting date on this video. Sometimes stuff gets outdated and people don't realize it, Something last year I don't think I did a good job of was showcasing the side stands and outlets around the Cougar beds. Because this is, I think they did the best they could with the space that they had. You have a very large stand in there. You could always, use that for like a little shoe garage or something if you needed to, but household and USB plugs. And then over here, right next to the bed, we have more household and USB plugs. So it doesn't matter what side of the bed you sleep on, you always get CPAP friendliness or, phone charging friendliness. Then on the other side, you have, just either a huge dresser space, or you can see that this is washer dryer prepped and ready. So if you are looking to do more of the full-time thing and you're like, no man, I am not using a public laundry service, well, you don't have to in a Cougar. And I love that big window right there letting in that cross breeze and flood of light. And a lot of brands have actually started to peel out their bedroom TVs, and you can see that Cougar has continued to include theirs. I don't necessarily think having a TV installed by a manufacturer is a make or break thing for me. And guys, if you look at a different fifth wheel here at Haylett RV and it doesn't have a bedroom TV and you want one, chances are that's something that we can arrange. That's just not the hardest thing in the world. But I do like how theirs is all boxed in and it's very premeditated, very nice. Like everything else in this Cougar, they really thought it through. So at the time of this filming, they have changed over to a different exterior color palette. Really very little has changed otherwise, it's just a different exterior skin. But one of the things is going to a lighter, brighter skin, one, I think looks sharp and modern, but two, it will significantly reduce the heat that this RV experiences in the summertime months. Now note over here, dual power awnings. And because we have an extended front deck, because it's not just a bed and bath, it's a middle bunk bed and bath, the front awning's extra large. Both awnings have LED lighting, easy tilt arms, all kinds of good things. They're both trimmed up and dressed up the exact same way. An easy to miss detail, whew, a little bit of wind, that's brisk. Easy to miss detail on these though, it's less common in a mid-profile fifth wheel, it's more common in a high-profile fifth wheel. Compare the height of that entry door against the height of the slide out. You notice how that door is the same height. Cougars have a taller entry door, just like, I guess you'd say Big Sister, Montana, but it's a really nice come and go feature, and it's one of those things that as a taller person, I've always zeroed in on, and I think a lot of people can easily overlook it. Most fifth wheels had the bigger entry handles, but I do still like how they're using the larger 4-step Moride step system here, so that you have, you know, shorter steps from plank to plank, and those adjustable foot pegs will marry up to, well, just about any campsite. Now over here, we have our little outside cook station to keep the heat out of the RV, and they're using not just a little stovetop but like an actual full-on Capital grill. And these things burn hot. And even on a windy day, like I got hit that little brisk breeze right there, it won't tend to blow the flame out. But the other thing is, frankly, as long as you're not putting anything crazy heavy on it, like concrete mix for whatever reason, you can frankly just use it as like a little stainless steel horizontal prep station. Over here, we've got our big full pass-through storage, which on what's called a mid-profile fifth wheel, this is among the largest I've ever seen. They utilized every inch they could, and it's easy to get in here because the doors are it's slam latches and double magnet holdbacks. But you see how I have the faceplate down on the in-command system. This has become something that more and more people are familiar with here. But if this is the first time you're seeing us at Haylett RV or a Cougar, what is this? Well, it replaces the common like fuse panel in a house. You call this your fuse box, with these automotive bus relays that are basically just stronger, and they're easier to replace. You can stop at like any automotive parts store to get those big black boxy things replaced. You also have this dial right here, where if you don't want to use the touchpad, if you just want to be outside the RV and open an awning or a slide real quick, you can turn this selector to whatever motor you want and still have a physical button to open and close anything. Also, Keystone was the first towable manufacturer to fully color code all their wiring, which is something that not every brand has done yet. All of it goes right through here. This is basically the brain of the RV. Now, while we're down here, we'll take a quick mention, and then I'll probably circle back to the insulation package on these. Cougars have been 0 to 100 degree rated for some time now. But in more recent years, they also added these 12-volt tank heating pads. Now, by the door and here in the pass-through, we have motion sense lighting, which is a neat thing. I just obviously have it turned off right now, so we're not blinded by it. We've got outside TV hookups over here on the side as well. And I mean, once again, nice, open, and clear. There's not pipes in the way or anything like that. Not that pipes bother me, it's just that now you don't have to worry about it. All of our lights, whether it's tails, markers, clearance, they're all LED. And they changed the lens caps up on them recently. I think they just aesthetically look sharper. Our nose cap is pretty much like everybody at this point painted. I don't think there's really any serious manufacturer of RVs doing nose caps that with color packages on them that are not painted. But the cool thing is, Keystone's volume of nose caps is so much higher than literally any other brand. Nobody builds the number of fifth wheels that Keystone does, frankly. It gives them the ability to in-house quality control everything. So they don't have to outsource all of their paint work, which is why the paint on their nose caps is covered under their structural warranty. Many brands don't have that. Now you can see we've also got the shock dampening Road Armor pin box here. We also have the Road Armor suspension package, which what's cool about that is there have been rubberized shock dampening suspension systems in the business for years, and frankly, they work very nicely. Road Armor is kind of like that sort of next-gen thought process where they said, okay, well, here's what's been working. What if we took it the next step further? And basically, both above and below the suspension joint, you have shock dampening instead of only below. So it doesn't just soften bounces, it helps prevent them in the first place. And we'll take a physical look at that in a second. But first, the other side of the pass-through here, note the dual struts. so that the door is self-supporting under that bed slide, so you don't have to, you know, like try to hold it up with one hand. Easy access to our auto leveling controls, and here in our fully enclosed privatized docking center, you see that you do have your outside shower, conveniently located very close to our sewer outlet here. But this is a residential fitting on the end of this quickly removable hose right here. So if you do want to put like a garden hose sprayer handle on it, you can. We have simple side mount solar prep. The Key TV system eliminates the need for those annoying antenna boosters hidden somewhere behind your TV now. You can see that our black flush, our gate valves, our battery disconnect, all of that is in here and protected. And below all that, below the floor line, we do have an enclosed, insulated, heated belly. Again, the heating and cooling package that goes into the Cougars is absolutely on par, rivals that of something like its big sister Montana. Now, let me get over here by the tires. I said we take a look at the suspension system here, just so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the Road Armor shock dampening package. You see those black chunks of rubber above and below that joint? That's the difference right there, as opposed to only below. It's above and below. So, again, it both controls the wiggle and bounce, as well as, well, it just helps try to prevent it in the first place. You'll never fully get rid of it, of course, because you're going down the road with something that weighs 11,000 pounds. But the fact is, the people that have been towing these, they've been very, very happy with them. You know, it's one of those things that last year, Road Armor was a little bit newer, and it's earned its stripes. It's earned my respect. Now, an easy thing to miss. Like, you can see, probably, that 2-inch receiver hitch sticking off the back there. That's really cool, because it does give you a place to add a bike rack without voiding your warranty. But what's easy to miss is what's just behind that is a sewer hose caddy. So there's a nice little sewer hose tube built into this RV so that you don't have to accidentally deal with mixing your gray stuff and your black stuff with your fresh stuff, and obviously you don't want to have all that happen. The tail lights. You might notice as we zoom in a little bit here how there's a really bright white outline and segment to them. That's because these have reverse travel lighting. And the white LED lights in that, they're not just a suggestion. Those things are legit. I mean, even midday you look at them and you're like, you know, you'll be seeing spots for a minute. But at night, if you're backing into your campsite, if you have a spotter, or if you're utilizing, if you actually apply a backup camera to that backup camera prep up top there, you're really going to see where you're going. But the other thing that nobody thinks about is, like, let's say it's midday and you're at a gas station and some yahoo parks directly in front of you and you have to try to back out and weave your way out of this thing a little bit. You're kind of running blind a little bit. The other drivers are going to see those backup lights, and people are used to seeing reverse lights. They're going to understand your intentions. So it's just funny how it just piggybacks onto what we already expect from the automotive industry. We've already talked about the awning here a little bit. I do want to take a quick mention to zero in on Cougar slides, because it is something I think that they do very, very well. And it's one of the areas that I think that the carbon copy photo print brands, they don't always do this to the extent that Cougar does. So you can see the interior wiper seal there. We have dual wiper seals plus an interior bulb seal. So there's always 3 seals in contact with the Cougar slide once it's all the way in or out, but always a minimum of 2. Additionally, inside of the, it's so tight I can't even get it open. There's an interior rain gutter basically, so that as it is wiping in and out, it shunts the water down and away from it. And speaking of water coming down, there's a inverted groove right here in this piece of trim so that water doesn't wick into the subfloor. When water hits the inversion, it drips down, it beads up, and it drips. Another quick note, Cougars have walkable slide boxes. And I don't believe that that's necessarily an uncommon thing in the fifth wheel industry. I suspect it's probably fairly common. But I don't really hear a lot of brands other than Cougar and Montana talking about it. And in my experience doing this a long time, there's a very good chance that if a brand doesn't talk about it, it might be because they don't have it. But I know for a fact a Cougar does. Now, in addition to the white skin upgrade, you've also, someone's waving at me in the distance, just hamming it up. But in addition to the white skin upgrade, which is going to organically help control heat, you notice that they also went to a white roof. For the same reason. It will help keep the sun out of this RV. Now, we've talked about it, and you can see it here, we have added the second air conditioner to this, and you notice how they have white shrouds now. The whole point of that, the whole point of everything going back to white up top instead of the tan that it has been for the last couple years, is to keep the sun out of the RV. If you're in Texas, Arizona, etc., wherever, this is a brand of RV that will keep you comfortable. More so now than ever. I frankly don't know that because what's interesting is my Michigan Cougar rep actually also handles Texas, which is really uncommon in this business. But the fact is, he said his brand is one of the most popular fifth wheels, also in a very hot climate like Texas. It's been getting the job done. It's not that it wasn't doing good before, it's just that it's going to do even better now. And another quick note, they're pretty heavy-handed with their sealants on Cougars, which is something I appreciate, because I can't tell you the last time we had a new Cougar with a roof problem. You take care of these things, it's going to take care of you. It's just that simple. And taking care of people, taking care of business, I think there's a song about that. That's what we do at Haylett RV. That's why we got that big old shop, and that's why we've become Michigan's largest independent RV dealer. Been here for 30 years, and God willing, 30 more. So, whether it's hitching pieces, parts, trades, finance, truck and trailer package deals, RV delivery, and everything in between, we do it all at Haylett RV. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.